Someone told me recently that I seem different, and my first instinct was to apologize for that. Then I caught myself. Why am I apologizing for growing? Hi, my name is Michal, and I have spent years not realizing how small I'd been living, not because of one person, but because of messages that I inherited before I was old enough to question them. And I make videos for anyone who is ready to finally question them. Today, I really want to talk about something that nobody really warns you about: the discomfort of actually changing and growing, because it doesn't always feel like you're winning. Sometimes it just feels like not recognizing yourself anymore. And that's not always a bad thing. Here's what I see happen and what happened to me. We grow, we shift, we do the work. And then instead of celebrating that, we look back at who we were and we feel guilty. Or we wonder, why did that take me so long to see what should have been so obvious? And then the aftermath is we don't fit in the same spaces anymore. Maybe we've outgrown people, we've outgrown friends. We measure our current selves against an old version. And when they don't match, it is confusing. But what if the mismatch isn't a problem? What if it's actually the sign that something is working? I was born and raised into a belief system that from the very beginning had a very clear message. You are not enough on your own, that who you are naturally cannot be trusted, that you need to follow our way to be worthy. And I believed it for a long time. I didn't even know I believed it. It was just the air that I breathed. It was not questioned. The people around you all believe the same thing too. So you really don't have another point of reference. It just feels normal. And for me, it wasn't some dramatic exit. I started traveling a lot for work, and I slowly stopped participating regularly, and then eventually, and then completely. But here's what nobody tells you. Just because you leave something physically doesn't mean it leaves you. That voice, it stayed quietly running in the background for years, telling me I was not enough, that I shouldn't take up too much space, that I would be lost without them. And then my daughter was born, and something inside of me started waking up. My heart expanded in a way I didn't even know was possible. I think I grew like 3 times the size. This perfect, beautiful, magical human. Babies are just so healing. And if you've never been around a newborn, you know that there is nothing but pure love, pure innocence, pure perfection. And when her first birthday came around, I knew I wanted to celebrate her. It was just not even a question in my mind. It was the magic of her, the fact that she existed at all, this entire year of getting to know her. And I couldn't help but feel this old programming kick in, that feeling that somehow I wasn't supposed to. Birthdays were not celebrated in the space that I came from. And I remember looking at her thinking, there is nothing about this child that needs to earn love. There's nothing about her that is inherently wrong. There's nothing about her that needs to shrink or apologize or prove her worth before she's allowed to be celebrated. She is already enough, exactly as she is. And I believed that so deeply about her. Why had I never believed that about myself? That kind of conditioning really does a number to your ability to trust yourself. Because once those messages get deep enough, they don't just disappear because you leave. You carry them with you. And unlearning them does not happen overnight. It happens very slowly through questioning things, through choosing differently, through learning to trust my gut a little more each time instead of immediately shutting it down. But that moment, that first birthday, that felt like the beginning of something. The beginning of me finally asking, what do I actually believe? Not what I was told to believe, not what I was taught to fear. What feels true in me, that inner voice, the one I had spent my whole life being taught not to trust. So if you're in a place right now where you feel like a different person and it's unsettling, I really want you to hear this. You are not falling apart. You are finally coming together. The discomfort you feel doesn't always mean that something is wrong. Sometimes it's just the feeling of becoming someone more honest, someone more aligned with who you actually are. You do not need to apologize for that. You do not have to explain that. You do not have to shrink back into something that no longer fits you just because it's familiar. The phoenix has always been one of my favorite symbols because it doesn't become itself despite the fire. It becomes itself through the fire. And I think people are like that too. Sometimes life burns away the parts of us that were built from fear, conditioning, survival, expectations. And for a while, standing in the middle of that change can feel so disorienting. You're not fully who you were anymore, but you haven't fully met who you're becoming. And that space in between isn't broken. Maybe it's just transformation. Here's the one shift this week. When you catch yourself feeling guilty for changing, stop and ask, whose voice is that? Is it yours or is it something that you inherited? Because you're allowed to question the things that you were taught. You're allowed to keep what feels true to you and let go of what doesn't. That is not betrayal. That is growth. That is listening to this beautiful inner voice, that sixth sense, that God, that universe, Allah, whoever that is for you, that you came into this world with. And my intention for you this week is to give yourself permission to be who you are right now. Not who someone else decided you should be, who you actually are today. And I want to know, what's that one thing about who you've become that you're proud of, even if it surprised you? I'll go first. Mine is very simple. I genuinely love people. I care about them deeply. And coming out of a space that taught me helping others was tied to obligation, I think part of me wondered if my kindness was even real and authentic. But it was. It was always there. It was always mine. I just needed a space and room to exist outside of fear and conditioning. Because in that world, love had boundaries around it. You loved your own. You helped your own. Everyone else was on the outside. And coming out of that, I realized that I want good things for everyone. I want good things for the stranger having a hard day, for the person who believes something completely different than me, for the cashier at the grocery store, for all of them. And that's mine. That's who I actually am. Now I want to hear yours. Thank you for stopping by. We will see you again soon. Bye for now.